Eva Perón died in 1952 at just 33 years old after a battle with cancer. But in 2011, a neurosurgeon came across her brain scans. When he examined them, he made a chilling discovery. Eva Perón's story is fraught with upheaval. She went from rags to riches, with her too short life becoming an enduring legend to the people of Argentina. She was born as Eva Maria Ibarguren in 1919 in Los Toldos. Eva kept the circumstances of her birth and early life hidden for much of her life, and there's a heartbreaking reason why. Her parents were Juana Ibarguren and Juan Duarte, an extremely wealthy rancher. Even though the couple lived together and had 5 children, they were never married. Eva was their youngest child, and because of that, she was the one who spent the least time with her father. He abandoned the family when she was only 1 year old. Her father already had another wife and other children, which is why he couldn't marry Eva's mother. This arrangement was quite common in rural Argentina, but for Eva, her father's rejection impacted her tremendously, and there would be no reconciliation. He died in a car accident when she was 6. Eva and the rest of her family were left completely impoverished and moved to a low-income neighbourhood where Juana mended clothes to stay afloat. Eva was 15 when she decided she'd had enough of living in poverty. She wanted to try her luck in Buenos Aires, the Paris of South America. She lacked education and social connections, but she had something that mattered even more: grit. She took any job that came her way, starting out as a small-time model before booking small roles in a few radio plays and touring with an acting troupe. Whatever money she made, Eva made sure to send some back home to her family. She dreamed of making it big and becoming a movie star. She started her career in small roles, mostly in low-budget commercial melodramas, hoping they'd pave the way towards something bigger and better. Unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be. She realised she wasn't going to be an Oscar-winning actress, so she set her sights on radio. She landed a role in a daily drama, Muy Bien, airing on one of the most popular radio stations of the time. This led to a 5-year contract with another radio station where she earned enough to afford a nice apartment in a desirable neighbourhood. It was a far cry from her impoverished roots, and by this time it was starting to look like Eva Duarte had finally made it. She dyed her naturally black locks blonde to keep up with Hollywood trends, and while her looks were enough to attract anyone who met her, she had a personality to match. She was witty and vivacious, and could make any man feel like he was the most important person in the room. She met Juan Perón, Argentina's Secretary of Labour, at a fundraiser for victims of the San Juan earthquake. The couple were so smitten that they spent the entire event together. Perón was 48 when he began seeing Eva. She was half his age. Despite that, the couple didn't seem to care about public opinion. If anything, their detractors brought them closer together. Eva started a daily programme on the radio titled Toward a Better Future. Not only did the show dramatise Perón's achievements, his speeches also played throughout its duration. Eva would talk to her listeners, encouraging them to believe in Juan Perón as she did. Some sources suggest that Eva was the one who pushed Perón to widen his base and gain the support of poor and working class Argentinians. In 1945, a year after Eva had moved in with Perón, she woke up to a chilling sight. Perón's political opponents were taking him into custody. They feared his rising popularity, with the president himself worrying that Perón would overthrow him. Supposedly, Perón's political opponents lost their cool when he hired a friend of Eva's to become his Secretary of Communications. Clearly, Eva had too much of a say in state affairs, and those in power wanted to put a stop to it. But they didn't realise who they were up against. After his release, Perón decided to make a bid for presidency. Eva seized her chance and told him that she didn't want his career to suffer because of their relationship. Perón took the hint and asked her to marry him. Argentinian society couldn't frown on their relationship if things were official. After a discreet civil ceremony in October 1945 and a church wedding in December, Perón started campaigning in earnest. Eva was beside him every step of the way. She appealed to people on her radio show, highlighting her own impoverished background to connect to them and convince them that Perón was their saviour. While it offended the wealthy and more established Argentinians to see Eva alongside Perón during his campaign, the working classes loved it. She was a passionate speaker, able to convince the lower classes, known as descamisados or shirtless ones, that she knew what it was like to be poor and that she was truly dedicated to helping them. It was during one of these speeches that she asked them to call her Evita, a Spanish nickname that means Little Eva. Either because of Evita's appeal or his own popularity, Juan Perón won the presidential election by a landslide, silencing his opponents and naysayers in one fell swoop. The couple moved to the presidential mansion in Avenida Alvear, the poshest area in Buenos Aires. When Francisco Franco, the Spanish head of state, invited Eva to visit him, she was only too happy to comply. Unfortunately, this was a bad move. Franco was an unabashed fascist. Other nations refused to sanction his rule with official visits. Clearly, Eva disagreed. The Argentinian government didn't want to offend the United States or want the UN to think they were sympathetic to Franco's dictatorship, so they decided to rebrand Eva's visit as non-political. Either as a cover or as part of a genuine goodwill tour, she also visited other countries after her trip to Spain. She was shown great hospitality in Spain, Rome, and France, and she responded in kind. She gave out money to poor children in Spain, met the Pope in Rome, and promised France 2 shipments of wheat. However, the British royal family sent a missive stating they couldn't meet her, and the Swiss pelted her with stones and tomatoes. It said that Perón asked his wife not to wear the expensive outfits she'd worn in Europe, as the luxurious dresses might alienate her from her impoverished supporters back home. Eva being Eva, she continued to wear what she wanted. She even gave a speech about how the shirtless ones could rise from poverty like her if they continued to support Perón. From Argentinian-designed elaborate gowns and complicated hairdos, Eva moved towards simpler, more sophisticated Parisian couture by the likes of Christian Dior. Eva decided she wanted to do more than just look pretty and support her husband in his campaigns. She unofficially took over the health and labour ministries, devoting time to poor and sick Argentinians. She would tour hospitals and orphanages and meet with homeless women. She founded her own charity, the Eva Perón Foundation, financed by taxes, levies, and donations. Her aim was to help the poor, sick, and needy. And depending on which source you believe, the foundation did just that. According to some, it provided scholarships, built homes and hospitals, and helped women get on their feet. But according to others, the foundation was not what it seemed. Instead, it may have been a front to funnel government money into Swiss accounts. Eva spent so much time visiting the poor and sick through her foundation that some people started considering her as something of a saint. She would work 22-hour days, spending time with the poor and giving medicines to the sick. It was unheard of for a president's wife to do so much. This increased her popularity with the masses, though her critics called it a performance. Eva was also a champion of women's rights. She made fiery, impassioned speeches about granting women the right to vote in Argentina. She wrote articles highlighting the cause and spoke about it on the radio. By 1947, she got her way. Women received the right to vote. Juan Perón signed the law during a public celebration. After he finished, he handed over the paperwork to Eva, making it clear that she was the reason for the long overdue change. Clearly, the husband-wife duo were great at PR. Eva also established a female Peronist party, comprising women from all walks of life who had previously been uninterested in politics. Her charm and influence pulled them out of their comfort zones, and they joined hands to support her and Perón. By the time of the 1952 presidential elections, the party had 500,000 members and over 3,000 offices across Argentina. Eva began to talk about Perón as if he was a god, and used her public speeches to reinforce a cult of personality around him. She also claimed that only Peronists were true Argentines who wouldn't hesitate to give their life for the president. Eva tacitly condoned dictatorships by visiting with leaders like Franco, and when her husband opened Argentina up to fleeing Nazis, she didn't do anything to stop him. To this day, her complicity, whether it was intentional or a sign of her naivety, casts a dark shadow over an otherwise inspiring career. Juan Perón recognised that his wife was a force of nature. He knew that much of his popularity was thanks to her, so he chose her to be his running mate in the 1952 election. Perón planned to present his wife turned vice president to a huge crowd of supporters in August of 1951, but Eva stunned everyone by turning down the offer. She knew that Perón's opponents and even some of his supporters were unhappy about her running for vice president. She addressed her supporters, saying that her only desire was to act as a bridge between them and the president, and she was happy to do this without becoming vice president. Her supporters considered this a noble act and called it the renunciation, appreciating her selflessness and sense of duty. However, that wasn't the whole story. Eva's supporters didn't know that their beloved Evita was battling a terrible enemy in secret. They knew that she had fallen sick and fainted a year ago in 1950, but people believed that the cause was nothing more than appendicitis. In reality, she had an advanced form of cervical cancer. The fainting spells continued throughout 1951, leading Eva to realise that she couldn't run for vice president in her weakened condition. After her renunciation speech, she had a secret hysterectomy as a last-ditch attempt to cure her. It didn't work. But perhaps Eva Perón's rapid decline was the result of something more sinister, like a secret lobotomy. Neurosurgeon Daniel Ninsen claims that he obtained scans of Eva's skull in 2011. According to him, they show that she underwent the procedure, which tampers with neural connections to dull emotional responses. It's no secret that Eva had become more aggressive in her speeches over the last year. She called upon her supporters to fight the oligarchy, and there appears to be evidence that she ordered arms to equip them for a revolution. Worried that she might incite her fans into starting something he couldn't control, Perón may have thought that a lobotomy would calm her down, while also relieving her pain. According to some sources, she didn't consent to the procedure. Instead, an armed guard held watch as Perón and his men whisked Eva into a makeshift medical office and forced her to undergo the lobotomy. In 1952, Juan Perón successfully won the election. As Eva's fans watched her wave, they didn't know that she was so ill and had lost so much weight that she couldn't move without help. She was only standing by holding onto a wire frame that was hidden under her fur coat. The First Lady of Argentina died a month after the parade. Her admirers and supporters were distraught. Seeing the kind of love and madness Evita inspired, Perón decided to preserve her body. He had it embalmed and planned to put it on display. However, after a military coup overthrew him, Eva's body disappeared for many years. Supposedly, the military found Eva Perón's body in Madrid. After Juan Perón died in 1974, his widow had Eva's body flown back to Argentina, where it was finally laid to rest in the Duarte family crypt. Evita captured imaginations, and there have been many books, articles, plays, and musicals about her life. Though she was a complicated, imperfect woman, one thing is for sure: it's impossible to overlook her. Thanks for watching History Expose. If you love uncovering the best stories in history, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring with us. If you enjoyed this video, check out the others on screen for more amazing history content.